thank you so much for being here on Spark TV.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited because you bought Prosecco, so you are already my spirit animal. Cheers. Thank you.
I love it.
So good. All right, let's do this. So you are the founder or co-founder?
Co-founder.
Co-founder. Good. I'm glad I got that right straight up.
Another half.
Yeah.
A better half, maybe.
Oh, no, I doubt it. So you are the co-founder of Butter Insurance. Tell everybody first what the heck Butter Insurance actually is.
So Butter is an insurance business that's changing the way insurance is sold, delivered, and managed. We want to make insurance cool again, if it ever was cool in the first place, actually, to be honest.
Nice.
Everyone hates talking about insurance. It's kind of this ugly corner of financial services that no one really wants to think about or touch. It's, it's never been exciting. And it's kind of a shame because it's an important part of financial wellness, and we see it as an important part of financial wellness. So we are making insurance easy, flexible, affordable, and kind of bringing it back to, people like us, like younger people who kind of need smaller insurance, more micro insurance, more flexible insurance that they can kind of pay really easily. Yeah. And the way that we're doing that to start off with is by offering a single item insurance product. So, you're able to protect just the things that you love, whether that's your iPhone or your designer handbag or your snowboard, like whatever it is that's your pride and joy. Yeah, that you've saved, weeks or months for, and this is like your favorite thing in the world. You can insure just that item really cheaply, like $2 a week, instead of your whole entire house, which people don't really need that much when you're young. We were renters and still am actually, and it was kind of like, well, I don't really want to insure my IKEA dining table, but my jewelry is really expensive and I need that. So it's kind of getting to that, real micro insurance, real flexible insurance, really affordable insurance that is not so dark and scary and boring as the rest of insurance is.
Yeah. And I love that you said, it's a key part of financial wellness. I think that there's a really interesting movement going on right now. And obviously you've not said that you're particularly female focused, but I know for women, there's a particular journey that a lot of people on at the moment about becoming more financially independent and aware. And I think you're right. Like insurance is so boring. But
it is so boring.
But it is such a critical part, right? Of, kind of being an adult and making sure the things that we have and love are protected, whether it be ourselves or our things or our whatever. So I love that. This is a super cool concept.
Yeah. I think it's like, if you break your laptop or your iPhone or something, and you don't have $2-3 grand in your account to buy another one, and you need it for work or uni or whatever, then people have to turn to like credit cards or buy now, pay later. They're getting into debt to replace these items, and we don't want that. So kind of being a little bit more preventative about that and protecting yourself is what we're trying to do.
I love it so much. So you said that you were renters and you didn't want to, insure the IKEA dining table, but the jewelry was important. Is that literally how you came up with the idea, or did something else start the process?
That was literally it. I actually broke a pair of earrings. I got a pair of earrings from my fiance as a gift. A really expensive pair of Sarah and Sebastian hoops, which I loved.
Oh, yes.
And I broke one of the clasps on one of them broke, and one of them fell out of my ear, and it was really expensive to replace. And I was complaining to Steph about how I didn't have insurance, and I was up for kind of $600, and it was really frustrating. And she was complaining back to me about how she'd spilt water all over her MacBook and had like a similar kind of damage experience. And we were at a party, we were drinking wine, which
that's always a good recipe.
And we kind of thought there should be some kind of insurance that you can just take out on those really expensive few things. And then it kind of started as a side hustle, and it was us just messaging back and forth and taking meetings at our full-time jobs on the side. And
it.
it kind of just, it just grew from there. And now we've been at it for, over a year now, which is wild.
That's so cool. And so, okay, so you said you had a full-time job. What's the backstory here? Did you have, career, other businesses? Like, what's the pre-butter journey?
So I didn't have any insurance experience, that's for sure. I never worked in insurance. I didn't have another business. I was actually working as a lawyer. I was a commercial lawyer, at a firm in Sydney. I was doing like M&A and equity capital markets, which was very financial, lots of contracts, that kind of thing. So quite different in terms of like, I'd never done insurance before or anything like that, but the skills were quite transferable, like in, commercial negotiation and things like that, which helped a bit. Yeah. But it was quite a jump.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, and that's going into today's chat. That is the biggest question I had for you. I was like, insurance? Like, how the heck did you go? Oh, by the way, guys, I'm starting an insurance company. I feel like, I mean, now that you're saying you had the legal background, I feel like you're like in tune with a lot of the stuff you would have had to bring together. But insurance for me feels super regulated, super difficult to get into. Like, what's it been like?
So, I mean, being lawyers, so Steph also started that. She's a trained lawyer as well. So
cool.
Being lawyers, it helped a little bit that we were comfortable like navigating around the reg and compliance. So it didn't really scare us that much. The other thing is, I feel like insurance companies love to make you feel like insurance is really complicated, because then you don't question them as much about, why is my premium so high, or why am I paying for this, crazy health insurance that I've never used. And their kind of response is, oh, don't worry, we do some dark magic with risk in the background, and don't worry your kind of pretty little head about it.
Yeah.
So
thank you. That's how I feel. That is how I feel.
And I think they do that on purpose so that it's like, you don't question it as much. We think insurance should be super accessible. And it's not as complex as it kind of seems. So, it was an idea that started that we became a little bit obsessed with. And don't get me wrong, there's always the imposter syndrome that creeps in. That's kind of like, who do you think you are running an insurance business? Like, you're crazy. But it's not as complex as it should be, I guess, is the answer. Yeah. So it was a tricky kind of jump because it was different. But you learn as you go, and you make things up as you go, and it's all fun.
I love that. And I mean, you're spot on, right? I guess you could say that about any different business, people coming into product-based businesses where they've never manufactured something in their life, or, I started a software company and I'm not a developer. So you do
exactly
you figure it out.
You just learn, like, and you're all consumers of that product. You know what I mean? Like, even if you've never created a skincare line before, like, you've surely used skincare, you know what you want as a consumer, what you would like to see in the product. So you kind of build the product around that, the way you view it as a consumer. And it's the same for insurance. It's no real difference. We wanted an insurance policy that was flexible and affordable and accessible, and that's what we're building.
That's so cool. And I'm assuming on the back end, so if I'm the consumer, so I got engaged at Christmas last year and proceeded to lose 2 stones out of my ring within 6 months. Yes, I'm a nightmare. Goodness. Oh my God. I know. I'm just very
Did they just drop out?
Well, okay. So one, I have no idea what happened. And the other one, I actually dropped it on, but like, I'm talking like this height from on my desk. It just slipped out of my hand as I was putting it on. And I was like, well, I don't think that should have happened, right?
It's stressing me out now.
I know. Well, it's to the point where I now have a placeholder one because I don't wear it anymore. I don't wear my good one because I'm so freaked out about it. I only wear it on special occasions. Wow. Oh my God. But and anyway, that was a tangent story.
No, I love it.
But so say that happened and I was insured with Butter. I remember back to, years and years ago, crashing my car and going through the insurance process, and it was a whole nightmare. I assume Butter also wants to fix that side of things as well and make it super easy when a problem does arise to actually make a claim and all those things.
Absolutely. So we, when I said at the beginning that we want to change the way insurance is managed, we've built this Butter Hub, or like a Butter dashboard. It's a web app. you can log in, and no matter kind of where you get that butter insurance, whether it's directly through Butter or through one of our retail partners, which we're always also partnering with, you can log on to your Butter account and you can see all of your policies in one place. You can cancel them, you can,
cool.
you can get support, and of course you can make claims. So it's just, when did it happen, where did it happen, that kind of thing, but it's all in like a really easy type flow. And then we update you on the status of that claim, and it should be resolved within 5 business days. It's really quick, really easy, really intuitive. So
how cool.
Working on that. Yeah.
That is so amazing. And that's because it's really interesting. Like, so it said Ring was not insured. And I did say that to my partner the other day. I really think this is one of those things that we need to do as adults.
Yeah.
Now we're doing that. Oh my God, that's so cool. So what's the process been like, building out that technology? Is that something, have you raised capital? Do you have someone else on the team? Like, what's that kind of vibe look like?
Yeah, so we raised a little bit of money just to get that app done and to get us off the ground. So we did a pre-seed round in 2 tranches. Tranche 1 was that little bit of cash just to get us going. We completed that in December last year. And then we actually hired a contractor to build the web app. Shout out to 5 to 1. They're amazing. Vibe is
cool.
Best friend and advisor now as well. So
awesome.
Steph and I didn't have, a technical background, which I think used to be kind of like a barrier to startups or people. It was a perceived barrier to kind of starting a business. But it's just not the case anymore. It's just as easy to kind of hire an amazing contractor and sometimes cheaper. And they kind of built the web app for us, which is amazing. And now we're looking to hire some software engineers to kind of take that over and run with it, which is cool.
That is so cool. I love that you said that. So a decade ago, when we were building a software platform, it was very much the case that it was like big cash, like, huge salaries for software engineers, all of those things.
I mean, that's still the case.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Once you get them in-house,
it's still huge. Yeah.
Totally. Once they're in-house. But I feel like there's so many things now that you can kind of, you can just get up a website on Squarespace in an afternoon, right? And start testing your idea.
That's literally it. Like you can, if you have an idea, insurance companies takes a bit longer because there's a bit more regulation. But if you had an e-commerce business or something, you do set it up on Shopify. You can take payments via Stripe. You can market via, there's so many tools that you can use. Use your database on Airtable. You could build your web app on Bubble. Like there's so many kind of software as a service tools that you can get it up and running in a week, really.
Yes.
If you wanted to.
It's so cool. No, I just love you say that. No, but it's so true. And I just, when I speak to people who want to take the leap, like go from corporate to startup, that's one of the biggest barriers in their mind is like, where do I start? Like it's just too hard. But I know, like, so I've made the mistake before of building and not validating it, not testing it with customers, spending lots of money and it being the wrong thing. But I'm like, now you don't have to do that. Like exactly like you said, you can create something awesome in like a day to a week and have it out there and see if people will buy it.
Yeah, just start. I think that's like, I actually have your love notes to female founders, and I think that's the first page is start today. It's
oh my God, scary. I'm so happy that you have that.
It's like no one knows what they're doing. Like no one knows how to start. No one knows how to make the jump from corporate to startups because you've probably never done it before. So you just have to start and learn and keep going if you like it, and if not, go back to your corporate job. It's not like they're hard to find.
Totally. And it's really interesting. So you said you side hustled for a bit, which I also love. Like you don't have to actually burn the bridge.
Exactly. In fact, I would encourage people like not to do that. I mean, sorry. When I say start today, I mean start building or planning or thinking about it. But we kind of spent 6 months building up, testing it and going out to investors and seeing if it kind of had legs. And playing with a few designs and things like that, creating decks. But also, you know, saving that little nest egg from our kind of corporate salaries to be able to go salaryless for a couple of months, which we did. And that's really important, because if you have no money, I mean, if you have no money kind of sitting there backing you up, it's really hard to kind of make that jump. And, you know, you might give up after 2 or 3 months because there's just no cash and it's really hard. So
yeah, that is a really good point. Like the financial like stress,
wellness again.
Really, yeah, exactly. Oh my God, I love this. Good theme for the show. But it's so true. Like if you are thinking about the money, then you make different decisions for the business. And you're
right. Exactly. You might make hastier decisions that'll get you a quick buck, but not kind of more long-term decisions, I guess. So yeah, I think having that nest egg for me was really important, because it allowed me the freedom to kind of, you know, give it a good chunk of time before assessing, okay, well, is this going to work or not?
Yeah. No,
without
I
that
think
pressure.
Exactly. And I just think, you know, it's really interesting. Like I do love the financial wellness thing that's going back, but it is so true. Just like, you know, taking as much stress out, like there is enough stress building a business without adding in the fact that you can't eat.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, put some pennies away.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, and then do it. So talk to me, you've mentioned capital raising. What was that process like?
Yeah, so I said we raised a tranche 1. We've actually just raised tranche 2. So we've raised in total, I think, just under $1 million. When we close this tranche 2, it'll be just over. It is very daunting to begin with. We learned a lot along the way, though, particularly with the type of investors that we wanted on our cap table, I think. So, you know, when we started in the startup world, we thought that VC money was kind of the be all and end all, and you had to get the interest of those big venture capitalists, otherwise you'd never survive. And we got the interest of a couple of them, but we kind of learned along the process that actually angel investment is much better for us, at least at this early stage, because those angels have you know, expertise across all different areas of business. And we can, you know, we've got 5 or 6 angels at least that we can kind of call up on any given day and say, hi, I don't know how to do this. Like, tell me how you did this in your business or whatever. And they can tell us, which is amazing. You know, VCs sometimes give that kind of support, but it's very face-to-face. It's a very personal kind of relationship between us and our angel investors. So that we learned a lot about, and we really, you know, appreciate that relationship with our angels. You also learn a lot about what to say and what not to say about, you know, I guess like we kind of had to predict some questions, because there's not enough time in kind of 30 minutes to answer every question, and investors won't ask every question. So you have to be able to kind of almost predict the things that they should know about your business and make sure you say those things, and then don't worry about kind of any waffly stuff in the end. It takes a while to refine that pitch though. So that was probably a big tip.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. So I've raised capital as well, and I love that. So that's what I used to do when I first, because the same, I just didn't know what I was doing when I started. I was like, I don't know, someone that can lend me $100, let alone invest in a company.
Literally, it's bizarre. Yeah.
But I love that. Like it's a learning process. Like I used to, every meeting I used to write down all the questions that they asked until I realized they all asked the same questions.
And there's a pattern. Cool. Yeah, there's a pattern. And I think one other thing that like you kind of learn raising money for the first time, I remember when someone like gave us our first $100,000, and I was like, oh my God, like I have someone else's money kind of in my hands. Like this is so daunting. It's really stressful for the first like, you know, little bit, because I've never seen that amount of money in my entire life. So, you know, it's really stressful to take that from someone. But but then you have to kind of remember they're backing you, you got to back yourself. It's going to be okay. Yeah. So that was another kind of learning, I guess, from raising capital.
Yeah. I mean, it is super interesting. That's such a great point. Like, you know, it's probably the second time we've touched on, you know, back yourself, imposter syndrome, those types of things. But like, I find that investors, yes, they back good ideas that they think might make them money someday. But the thing that I have learned, especially about angels, is that they're backing you. They're backing the fact that even if what you just said you were going to do doesn't quite pan out, you'll figure out a way to make the vision work.
Exactly. It's like, you know, your ability to problem solve or pivot or, you know, abandon an idea when it's not going right. Like how can you take this business to the next level? I think that, yeah, the angels that we have, they love butter. They love the idea of butter. But like I said, we have a really close relationship with them. So I think they're backing Steph and I too.
That is so cool. I was chatting to another female founder yesterday or the day before, and she's really early stage, but backed by VC. And there's like a lot of pressure to get it right, to move quickly. Like, I think you're spot on about angels. There's a little bit more strategic alignment and, you know, that relationships that you can build and, you know, expertise that you can get into your business early. That's such a smart move.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I think in this market, it's been quite interesting to watch some really big startups who were very publicly, you know, backed by big VCs who have had to make a lot of, you know, job cuts and, you know, that kind of thing, because of potentially, and I'm speculating that the kind of VC, way of running startups recently has been, you know, grow at all costs, like spend the capital, grow, hire, take every opportunity instead of kind of taking a little bit more of a measured approach. And sometimes, that pressure really can get to founders and they have to do that, or they feel like they have to do that. So I think watching those companies kind of, you know, lay off staff is a learning experience for all other founders as well, that maybe, you know, everyone just calm down a little bit. we just take a bit more measured approach. I
think that's such an important point though, because it is like exactly what I've noticed as well is you see grow, like all the headlines are we've raised this many billions, hired this many people, look at our fancy new office. And then when the market change, everyone loses their job because suddenly it's like, oh, got to focus on profit.
Well, that's it. It's like, why are we measuring success by the amount people can raise instead of the amount that they're like making for the business? It's a bit, you know, it's headlines. And I think, it's been a bit of a wake up call in the past 6 months in this moody market.
But it is important to look beyond the headlines. I think it's really tough as a founder coming in, especially if you're like corporate escapee, new founder coming in and you're just reading media, you're on startups.com or whatever it is. And that's all you hear. So you're like, oh, obviously I have to raise money. Obviously I have to, you know, build some kind of crazy product. Obviously I have to scale like a unicorn. Otherwise I'm a failure.
That's totally it. And there's so many businesses that like are so profitable and they're not, you know, in the limelight every second of every day. It just, you know, they don't correlate necessarily. But you have to learn that too.
There's no headline that's like, congratulations on profitable slogan.
Yeah, exactly. Like you hit profitability. Well done.
Oh my God. There needs to be like an anti-startups media outlet. Like there's the good news.
I would love that.
Like the good ones that only tell good news stories. There has to be like startup, like level-headed media come out.
Stop down or something. Just
chillout.com.
I love it.
So good. So what's next? You know, what's kind of coming up for you guys? What are you working on and planning for? Well, I guess it's the end of the year now, so maybe 2020.
No, it's still, so we've been pushing for launch, you know, for a while. So we're just pre-launch, but we're so close. I want to say November. I'm going to put it on the record and say November. And you've got to hold me to it now.
Well,
I won't put a date.
Every day November.
Well, we really want to get into market for obviously Christmas because people are buying expensive stuff at Christmas or in the sales that they should have that insurance on. whether that's, gadgets or things like that. So we're hopefully launching within the next month. That's the plan. So laser focused on, getting dotting all of our I's and crossing all of our T's with our underwriter, getting all of our really boring processes, in place, so that it runs quite smoothly when we actually launch. So into all the boring stuff, but also the marketing stuff, which is quite fun.
Yeah. That's a really interesting question, actually. So what's the plan? So Spark, we always like to talk about sales and marketing is your best friend. If you don't have customers, you may not have a business. Yes. So keen to hear what the plan is there. What do you plan to do from a sales and marketing point of view once you're ready?
Yeah, so the sales side of Butter is quite different to other insurance. So most insurance is direct to consumer only. And we think it's kind of not enough anymore to ask customers to log into Google and type in insurance and then kind of fight for the top 5 spots on Google and throw money into, Google ads like that. It's just it's a bit old school and it's a bit lazy. So the way we wanted to distribute Butter was actually through retail partners. So putting Butter into checkout flows, the same way that buy now, pay later kind of sits in that checkout, Butter will actually sit in checkouts. So that means like it's kind of twofold. First of all, it's really convenient for the customer to take out, and you're kind of taking it out at the point in time when you want it, which is when you've just spent your money on this brand new amazing thing that you've just bought.
Yes.
But secondly, it makes it kind of super seamless because we use the data from that transaction to actually populate the quote and bind for that insurance. So instead of you doing a form where you're like, it cost this much and I bought it on this date and here's my receipt, that's all done. So you just click a button and you have insurance, which is so much easier than kind of doing all of those forms. So that's kind of the sales aspect. We will do direct to consumer as well, but we will have those kind of retail partnerships, I guess.
Yes.
First distribution partnership is actually through FPOS, which is really, really cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
God. Yeah.
They have been incredible and super supportive of Butter. So we'll kind of integrate into their new digital ecosystem, which they're building out at the moment, and sit within that as an insurance provider. So you can pay using your iPhone and get Butter on that item at the same time, which is amazing. So that's kind of the sales, I guess, distribution strategy.
Yeah.
In terms of marketing, I mean, we really don't want to be boring.
I love it already.
There's so many boring insurance ads and I'm just so sick of seeing them on TV, from what we call the acronyms, which is, GIO, NRMA, AIMI. It's all
yes.
So a little bit cheeky, a little bit more, I guess, organic. So TikTok is amazing. And I'm not talking about, TikTok ads. I'm talking about, accounts like Ryanair and Duolingo who aren't even selling you stuff, but they are selling you stuff at the same time. They're just kind of entertaining.
Yes.
More like posters, like milk run style advertising is awesome. Just different and more engaging and less throwing money into Facebook ads and hoping that something sticks. It's particularly important with insurance because, you're not constantly thinking about insurance like you're constantly thinking about food or FMCG or something, consumer goods. It's something where you kind of have to capture a customer where they're thinking about insurance. So obviously putting Butter at checkout helps with that, but we also want to capture, particular times in people's lives and particular areas where people are shopping and that kind of thing, so that it's quite targeted and we're not, wasting our precious marketing budget.
I mean, but it's so interesting. I do love that because there is so much same out there right now. And I really feel like even social media, right? It's just a lot of crap that you're just scrolling through. And so And it's so like obvious when something is an ad.
It's so, well, that's the thing. I think like Instagram is falling out of favor a little bit because it's so hyper curated. Like brands are spending upwards of, $500,000 to create kind of one shoot that'll give them maybe a month's worth of Instagram content, which is just ridiculous. And people it's ridiculous, and people can see through it, and it's like I'm bored of that, like that kind of hyper curated, aesthetically pleasing advertising. I feel like is falling out of favor a little bit, at least with me. I resonate more to like it is, the organic stuff.
I concur.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's awesome. And I assume as well, like with the financial wellness lens, there will be a little like education piece in there. So there'll be the funny, the relatable, the organic, but maybe a little bit of education dropped in.
Yeah, there will be. I mean, we like, people know about insurance. I think the education piece is more it's a different option. It's a different option. Like it's butter is quite a different proposition to home and contents insurance, and I guess educating people about that difference and that point of difference, and why it's actually smart to kind of proactively get insurance instead of reactively getting insurance at some kind of milestone, or like when you drop your engagement ring and lose 2 stones. I think that
only happened to me.
I think that will be the education piece. Here you go. Education starts here. Insure your engagement ring.
Oh my God, I love it. You know what? If you change one person's life, you've done well.
Yes. Amazing.
Oh my God, that's so good. Oh, I love it so much. All right, let's wrap up on one last question for you.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize the time.
I know. I feel like we could have had a bottle of wine and talked all day.
I agree. Okay, let's wrap it up then.
Okay, right. Hit me.
Yeah.
So a lot of people tuning into Spark TV are early stage founders.
Yes.
And, from the from the outside looking in, you're going through it right now, right? Like there are good days, bad days. Before we hit record, we were talking about coming off the high of some huge startup events. So, balancing the energy, maintaining the energy can be quite difficult. And, you've got a co-founder, so you've got someone to bounce off, lots of people are solo founders. Is there any piece of wisdom, advice, or an insight that might help people keep going if they're having a bit of a rough day as a female founder?
I think it's be kind to yourself. Like you have to be kind to yourself. I just read something on LinkedIn this morning that said, being a startup founder is champagne and razor blades. So it's really, which sounds very.
We brought the champagne.
No, today's a champagne day, so it's good. It's really up and down, and I think you have to, stay in your own lane a little bit, because it's so easy to get distracted by those headlines like we were talking about. I raised $1 million, this company hired 100 people, this company is partnered with X, and you kind of have to put the blinders on a little bit and focus on your own success in your own lane, and it will come the success will come to you, but also be kind to yourself in that process. So if you're having a bad day, take a break. No one's gonna die if you don't reply to an email. It's fine. We're not surgeons. We're not saving, curing cancer or ending world peace. Oh, some founders are. I'm not.
True.
One of them.
Nice to be silent.
Yeah, but just be kind to yourself. Take time, because I think what we found is if you're not at your best, not only does that impact on other aspects of your life beyond your business, but also your business will suffer. Like inevitably, if there's burnout in you, the founder, or in your team, the business will suffer. It's inevitable. So it's really important to be kind to yourself and take care of yourself and stay focused, keep your blinders on.
I love it so much. Cassie, you are incredible. Cheers.
Cheers.
And everything you're building at Butter. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to harass you until launch day.
I know. Every day in November, I'm going to get an email like, "Have you done it yet?"
I promise I won't. But no,
I'm going to read a love note every day until until we launch.
Oh my God, nothing makes me happier. That is so good.
Amazing.
Oh, you're
Thank
awesome.
you so much. That was really fun.
It was. Cheers.
Cheers.